and chronicles that gave him information about the Incan history. In 1811, he organized an expedition to Peru to look for the unknown Incan city of Bicos, the rebel Inca's last refuge. When Bingham arrived in Cusco, he decided to follow the course of the Urubamba River downstream to reach Pampa, a stretch of flatland at the bottom of the canyon, located 4 or 5 kilometers away from Aguascalientes town. There, Hiram Bingham met peasant Melchor Arteaga, who told him that there were magnificent Incan ruins at the top of the mountain. In the early morning of July 24, 1911, Mr. Bingham, accompanied by peasant Melchor Arteaga, climbed up the steep and slippery mountain slope as they got to Machu Picchu, where they met two farmer families, the Alvarez and Richarte, who lived off the crops they grew on Machu Picchu bench of activities. And after having visited Machu Picchu for about 4 hours, Mr. Bingham went back down to Pampa and continued his journey to finally find Bicos, located 1.5 days away by foot. Okay? In Peruvian history, there is a controversy about Machu Picchu's scientific discovery. Who is it discoverer? Is it the person who finds something hidden or unknown? Let me say, since the 19th century, Machu Picchu was already known and visited by the region's peasants and treasure hunters, who were people that only took advantage of their visits here to look for valuable objects. For example, in 1902, 9 years before Hiram Bingham arrived to Machu Picchu, Mr. Agustin Lizarraga, who lived at the bottom of the canyon, was seeking to expand his farmland. He set fire the mountainside and found an Incan trail that led him to Machu Picchu, where he found some valuable objects he sold to Cusco's collector. This is why Hiram Bingham is considered as the Incan city's scientific discoverer, because he understood the importance of the site. Afterwards, he returned to Machu Picchu from the USA with a multidisciplinary scientific team funded by Yale University and the National Geographic Society that worked on the site from 1912 to 1915. And these were the first pictures that Hiram Bingham took about Machu Picchu. The whole city covered with vegetation. To clean it, Hiram Bingham had to set fire the mountain 3 times. Okay? Well, any question? No? Okay, right here, please, friends. Okay, friends, please, right here. The buildings you see in front of you are called colcas and were warehouses or storage places in which agricultural production surplus was kept in the shade with constant air circulation that allowed the conservation of food products free of pests and humidity. In Machu Picchu, the colcas always were fully stocked, like the rest of all colcas throughout the surrounding region, so as to prevent disasters or food emergencies. Okay? The roofs are replicas. Now, we'll ascend a total of 151 steps till we reach Machu Picchu's vantage point. Okay? Let me say, this path is not original, since it was traced in 1995 to facilitate the transit of visitors to go to the vantage point. Where is the original path? It's located in the mountains, in the upper part of the mountains. Can you see the trail there? Yeah. This is the original trail to arrive to Machu Picchu. Okay? Well, friends, ready?
great. Thank you.
It's not good.
No. Thank you. It's great.
Okay.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
I told you, this is the first view to Machu Picchu. That appears in all publications around the world, and with some fantasy and imagination. The profile of the mount shows an Inca's face staring at the sky. Where? Here. If I change the position of this picture, this is the front head, nose, mouth, and chin.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Where is it? Over there.
Yes.
Okay? Well, please, you can take pictures here. 5 minutes or 10 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So arrive to Machu Picchu in Inca times. Please go next to the wall. Okay. At the end of this path, we can find the famous Sun Gate or Inti Punku. Okay, can you see the construction in the middle of the small mountain and the big mountain there? Next to the trail?
Yes.
This is the Sun Gate. Okay, I guess I have the picture here. It was a checkpoint in Inca times because only the high status people would pass or might pass to Machu Picchu. Okay, only the high status people. According to the Andean society or cosmogony and conception, everything has its complementary opposite. For example, over there is located Machu Picchu mountain. Machu means old, Picchu mountain. Can you see the mountain there?
Yeah.
Okay, Machu Picchu mountain. Machu Picchu mountain has its complement, which is Huayna Picchu over there. Huayna means young, Picchu mountain. This is the famous duality. Okay, and the same goes for masculine and feminine, positive and negative polarities. Okay, everything has its complementary opposite. Well, right here, please. We're gonna see this. Plastic material on the ground is to avoid the erosion. Because in Machu Picchu normally there are 5,600 visitors per day. So they have to avoid the erosion. The archaeologists think that this was the best way to preserve the complex. Okay? Well, friends, to better understand what Machu Picchu was, you have to know that agricultural was the base of the Incan society's economy, and that the Andes Cordilleras are located on a dry territory. This is why Inca Pachacute, who was the Tahuantinsuyu's greatest statesman, conquered the jungles, its region, around 1440 AD, within the frame of an ambitious territorial expansion project to take advantage of the moisture in the air in this area so as to ensure permanent agricultural production and sufficient food supplies, as well as to have a multifunctional urban center built here that will mainly act as a strategic provincial political center that controlled this large territory. So Pachacute conceived and had Machu Picchu built as this region's capital city. Okay? In addition, Machu Picchu was a religious center. Why? Because all agricultural processes have to be approved by the Andean gods, such as the sun, such as the earth, called Pachamama, and the water. Furthermore, does anyone know about the El Nino Phenomenon? Do you know about it? Okay. It is a warming process that takes place in the Pacific Ocean waters and causes floods and droughts. And to the Andean farming societies, this phenomenon only could be caused by the Andean gods, like a punish to these people. So they have to build temples, altars, places to worship and seek their gods' approval and protection. Okay? So, nowadays, Machu Picchu is classified as a sanctuary. So that Machu Picchu was the capital of this region, and also a sanctuary. Okay? The construction process of Machu Picchu started around 1450 AD, and it is seemed to lasted for about 50 years until 1500 AD. Okay? Any question? No? Okay.
It's very small time. Very
course,
small
of course.
period of time.
Yes.
How many people take it?
Okay.
Nobody knows.
Normally,
Yeah.
as you can read here, normally the population estimated or the inhabitants estimated in Machu Picchu were between 300 to 1,000 people who were living in Machu Picchu. However, here in Machu Picchu there were between 3,000 to 5,000 workers just to build the city. Okay? We are going to talk
10 times
about
more.
it in a couple minutes more later. Okay? Please come on, go ahead. You can go to see, to explore the area there.
Charlie.
Where's my backpack?
And a water canal
Okay.
that provides to the city with drinkable water from a distance of almost 750 linear meters. Okay? And this canal, every 100 linear meters, has 3 degrees inclines and supplies between 23 and 114 liters of water per minute to the city, which is sufficient to give drinking water to about 1,000 people. If the Incas have not found water here in Machu Picchu will never have exist on this mountain that is part of the Vilcabamba batholith. Do you know what is the batholith? The batholith is the magma or lava, okay, that cooled down in the depths of the earth and then appears in the Andes crust, in the earth's crust. In this case, there was a huge reserve of granite rock right where the city was planned to be built, that allowed the Incan builders always have easy access to the proper building materials within and directly around the city. Okay? The platforms of which the terraces were built from the bottom up to give stability to the structures, and later on, temples, altars, deposits, etc. Okay, friends? What's the reason? Down there, you can see the Urubamba River.
Yeah.
This Urubamba River is surrounding the Huayna Picchu Mountain and Machu Picchu Mountain. Maybe it was important to give security in Inca times. Okay? To avoid thieves, enemies. Okay? Well, any question? No? Well, right here, please, friends. We're gonna go there. Can you see the forest terrace there, next to the forest?
Yeah.
Or in Huayna Picchu too? These terraces are destined to avoid eventual landslides, as well as to sustain other constructions. Also, we have the agricultural bench of terraces. They are always oriented towards the sunrise to allow the photosynthesis in the plants. Friends, as you will have seen in Machu Picchu, there are no irrigation canals. Why? Because the moisture in the air is sufficient to maintain the ground humid throughout the dry season. However, in the rainy season, between November to March, the average annual rainfall is of above 2,000 millimeters of rain per year, or 200 cubic centimeters of rain per year. And these terraces don't suffer from floods because they can be constructed as follows. The top layer was made up of fertile organic soil. Then a thin layer of sand serves to filter the rainwater. It is followed by small stones that were mainly construction residues. And finally at the bottom, there are large stones with open spaces between them that would store the rainwater before its evacuation through outlets or evaporations during the day to moisten the upper layers, to maintain humid the fertile organic soil. Okay? Well, the crops that they could be grown in smaller quantities were potatoes and mostly corn. Corn here. Okay, friends? Well, please. Now we are gonna go to the principal to go to Machu Picchu. Like this in Inca times. Okay, try to imagine the city with the roofs. People practicing ceremonies and rituals in the temples, altars, and also practicing the agricultural in this area, in the agricultural area. Okay, down there, can you see? Over there, you can see the llamas. The llama in Inca times was used as a burden animal, as it can carry a load of up to 30 kilograms. Its wool serves to make the clothes, textiles, while its meat has high protein content and low cholesterol level. In addition, the llama's excrements were used as a fertilizer in the fields. Even its bones were used to make flutes and another musical instruments. What is the difference between a llama and alpaca? The llama has the shape like this, like my fingers. Llama, okay? And alpaca is like this. The llama is longer. Longer.
Yeah.
Okay? Down there also you can see the water canal. Did you see it? The water canal. Now, can you see the space between these staircases there, next to the wall? There.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the famous dry mud that served and still serves as Machu Picchu's main surplus water evacuation canal for over 100 water outlets and secondary canals that lead to it, while the mud runs along a very steep all the way down to the Urubamba River that in Inca times was called like Wilcamayo, that means sacred river. The sun was one of the Incas' most important deities. Therefore, to the mainly farming Andean society, the sun was a source of life, due a simple cause-to-effect relationship, because the sun's heat evaporates the water, which generates clouds and rain. Okay? Can you see that stone? That is part of the bedrock. Okay? That is surrounded by the circular wall. Well, was a waka, a worship place that so precisely gets illuminated by the first rays of the sun on June 21st. That's marking the winter solstice. Okay? When hours of the days are shorter than hours of the nights. Why? Because our planet reaches its maximum distance from the sun. Then 6 months later, August, September, October, November, December, the sun rises through the Intipunku. This is the reason of the name, Sun Gate, to illuminate again the stone, especially on December 22. Okay? To mark the summer solstice, when hours of the days are longer than hours of the nights. Okay? Incan astronomers will use it to measure solar position at key moments of the year, because both solstices mark seasonal changes, and this astronomical knowledge appears to be intimately related with ceremonial offerings and agricultural calendar. Okay? Indeed, according to chronicler Pedro Sarmiento de Gamboa, this type of construction of observatory served to determine the best moment for sowing and harvesting crops. Okay? Well, can you see the building next to the glass? Well, as anthropological studies show, that building was a living quarter for the principal priests in charge of ceremonies and rituals in the Temple of the Sun. This building has 2 floors with separate entrances. Thus, the ground floor was a living quarter, and the upper floor was a deposit that communicates with the Temple of the Sun's plaza. There, in 1889, Mr. Fidel Ramos Condori found a finely built wall, okay, which shows that sometimes the Incas made planning modifications, and apparently that finely built wall that is being covered by the glass was part of the construction works planning modifications. Okay? Can you see the houses there?
Yeah.
These houses were destined for secondary priests in Inca times. Note the change of styles in the construction. Always the temples and principal areas have other styles of the construction. This is to have the difference with the commune areas. Okay, friends? Since pre-Incan times, as a sacred plant, do its fundamental presence in ceremonies and rituals, as well as for its scientifically, nutritional, and medicinal properties. It contains a substance that is responsible for the burning fat accumulate in the liver, thus generating greater energy in the human organism. It also possesses high calcium content, which helps preventing osteoporosis and in general maintains your bones deep, higher, strong and healthy. When drinking coca leaf during your first day in Cusco, you'll overcome the altitude sickness. Okay? For that reason, you can find the restaurants, airports, and hotels too. Okay? This is the avocado tree. And this one is the Chirimoya tree. Do you know the Chirimoya?
No.
The Chirimoya is like this. Or anona. Anona fruit. Okay? Like this. Well, here you can see. Okay. Can you see the flower there?
Yeah.
Which color?
White, huh?
Uh-huh. The black flower there is an hallucinogenic flower. Its name is the Floripondio. Floripondio. It's hallucinogenic plant. Okay? Well, here also we can find exotic plants. Also orchids with well-jointed, polygonal, megalithic stone blocks. Initially, it had 5 windows, but in the course of the construction, 2 of them were closed and converted into inside niches.
Yeah.
Its central pillar supports a possible roof. Okay? Can you observe that a stone that has the shape of steps? There. Okay? This is a famous symbol. This is the Chacana symbol. Okay? Where is the complement of this stone? Is the shadow projected by the sun. Can you see it? This is the Andean cross. Here we can see the trilogy. Hanampacha is the upper world. Caipacha is our world, where we live. And Ujupacha is the inner world. Okay? There are 3 sacred animals. The condor was the divine messenger from our world to the heaven. The puma or mountain lion that represents the willpower in every aspect of our lives. And the snakes that represents the change through the renewal of its skin. There are 3 moral values. Algin Rurai is to work very well. Algin Munai, to respect everyone. That's Algin Yachai, to learn about every aspect of our lives. There are 3 work systems. Aini, it was the mutual and reciprocity work. Minka, it was the collective work for the good of the community. Avdemita, it was the collective work of the community for the good of the state, the slaves. Okay? Well, any question about it? No? Well, right here, please. Which means that fragile or delicate objects were placed there. And these were seldom removed from the place. Okay? At the back, you can see a large stone block that served maybe to shelter idols and offerings too. Indeed, this temple is in honor of Wiracocha God. Who is Wiracocha? Wiracocha is the maker of the worlds. Is the father of everything. That is the sun, earth, moon, etc. Now, this enclosure is facing to Machu Picchu mountain. Why? Why the Incas worshipped high mountains? Because maybe it was an eagerness to get closer to the heavens. Okay? The walls collapsing is the result of the soils sinking due the rainwater infiltration. Okay, friends? Well, any question? Please, you can take your pictures here. I'll be waiting for you there to talk after this area, okay?
No hay de la primavera, perdón, no hay de verano, ¿no? Y las ventanas están
Vale, que va a tener que la